Afternoon. I hate to break up the party, but we've got a parks meeting to have. I call this meeting of the, am I on? I think I.
Yes, you are on.
Okay. Good afternoon. I call this meeting of the Board of Parks and Recreations to order. I'm Susanna Scott Barnes, Vice Chair, filling in for Michelle Cummins Steele. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Appeal of decisions. Pursuant to the provisions of 2.68.030 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws, please take notice that decisions of the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreations may be appealed to the Chancery Court of Davison County for review under a common law writ of certiorari. Any appeal must be filed within 60 days after entry of final decision by the board. Any persons or other entity considering an appeal should consult with an attorney to ensure that time and procedural requirements are met. Considerations of minutes. Have you all had an opportunity to read the minutes from the October meeting?
Motion to approve.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any discussion? It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, minutes have passed. Metro Council referrals, are there any referrals from council members present?
None today, ma'am.
Okay. The public comment period is limited to 20 minutes total. Persons wishing to provide comments on matters that are germane to items on the agenda must sign up prior to the beginning of the meeting on the sign-up sheet provided at the meeting. The opportunity to provide public comment is offered on a first-come, first-served basis. Comments are limited to a maximum of 2 minutes per person, and today we did not have any sign-ups. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I apologize. We do have sign-ups. So first, we have Joe Altman, and you're welcome to speak for 2 minutes.
My name is Joe Altman. On behalf of the Belmead Highlands Safety Working Group, I'm providing a third update on the dangerous safety issues escalating on our narrow streets from the overwhelming traffic from Cheekwood's massive growth. Metro commissioned a report this summer showing our families endure 3 times recommended traffic levels. It specifically identified Cheekwood as root cause. Things have worsened. The past 2 weekends, traffic now approaches 5 times. Cameras now show days with nearly 5,000 cars on our narrow streets. It looks like the MOU is being violated by guest parking in the swale and southeast of the Iron Gate entrance. We recognize planning is making recommendations to alleviate conditions. That step cannot get here fast enough. We hope the study recommends a new entrance exit for Cheekwood off Highway 100, along with a permanent parking solution. We know this will take time to implement. In the interim, we ask all parties, Cheekwood, Parks, and Metro Planning, to explore all avenues to improve current safety conditions for residents and guests. We think Cheekwood should look at capping their attendance and event frequency. We also believe Parks should clarify and enforce the temporary MOU. We were hopeful when we recently saw roped barriers installed, yet those ropes were removed by the end of the same day. Photos show chaotic parking and multiple safety concerns. Now I'll close on a positive note. Metro's parks are wonderful. Everyone in our neighborhood knows proximity to Percy Warner is a big reason we live there. Thank you to Director Odom, staff, and commissioners for the good work you do for our city.
Thank you. Thank you for speaking. Next, we have Albert Bender. Welcome, and you've got 2 minutes.
Yes. Good day, Parks Board. My name is Albert Bender. I'm the chairperson of the Indigenous Peoples Coalition. I'm also a retired attorney, author, journalist, community activist, philosopher, and social critic. Now, all of you know why I am here and what my position is on the name change of the park. I am, of course, in favor of it. So I'm not going to repeat that again and again. What I am going to do is to attack the process that is being looked at here again today. And, you know, this has gotten somewhat ridiculous because the community, indigenous community, and the wider community is saying, gosh, you've already been through the naming committee, it's been through the Parks Board, now you want to do this again. At the community meeting on September the 25th, Ms. Odom said that the meeting on November the 5th was mandated by a state law. We checked, there is no state law. We checked with Ms. Odom again. She couldn't recall making that statement, despite the fact that several people did hear her make that statement. Also, at this point in time, this proceeding is being viewed internationally and nationally. That is the first point in terms of my address of the process. The second point that I want to make in reference to the process is in reference to this public notice, which is dated September the 6th, as you can see. Now, that public notice said that the public comment period would go from September the 6th to October the 6th. And this meeting that's being held now should have been held on October the 1st so that it would comport with the 30-day public comment period. That is the second point as to why there are two flaws in this process. I would suggest very, very strongly that this board, Parks Board, correct this by calling for a special session to address the issue of name change and make a decision before the end of November, particularly in light of the fact that this is Native American Heritage Month. With that, I rest my case, and I'll say I rest our case. I rest the case of the indigenous community on this issue.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bender. Next, we have Gregory Williams Welsh.
Yes, thank you. I'd just like to reiterate what Brother Albert said. This is kind of deja vu all over again. We were here. We talked about the recognition of history that this country has to face, and many are trying to ignore. We need to rename Cumberland Park to Wasiota Park. We know that. And I assumed when I left last time on September 25th that it would be a done deal by today. And to come back knowing that this really isn't necessary and this could have been voted on in the interim is very disappointing. And to stretch it out to December 3rd seems to me to be truly unnecessary and just dragging out something that does not need to be dragged out. Renaming the park is a crumb, a mere crumb of the banquet that was taken from our indigenous brothers and sisters. We need to make it right. And that is just a little start, just a tiny start. And to drag it out into December, which we all know will be the holidays and then next year. No, this needs to be done. And as Brother Albert said, during Native American Month in November, please call a special session. Do it by Zoom, do whatever you need to do, and get this done for the people of Tennessee, for history, and for something that we can be proud of. The megapolis that was Nashville before we were here, before many of your ancestors were brought here, before we came and took the land. Let's be honest about our history and do what is right. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, next, we have old business, item 08-2402, Indigenous Peoples Coalition request approval to rename Cumberland Park to Wasiota Park, the original Shawnee name of the Cumberland River. And this is in Council District 19. I think before we open, the point of this item is to open it for public comment. So if there's any additional public comments, the sign-up sheet does not have anybody on it, but there's an opportunity to get public comment. But I did want to just take an opportunity to just kind of go through the how we got here piece of renaming the park. We did first initially get the agenda item in August, and then in the September meeting, the naming committee met and made a recommendation to the full Parks Board, which then began the naming process. So 2 days later, we gave public notice for the public comment period, and then the public comment period of 30 days would allow for multiple ways of people to communicate, and so that we could get input not only from public appearances, but also from mail-in, phone calls, or emails. And then we did have the, as mentioned, the September 25th public meeting in the evening, and welcomed input on the October Parks meeting, but it wasn't on the agenda. So the final public appearance or opportunities for public to make comments is today. And one of the reasons, just taking a step back, one of the reasons why we have that process is that we've recently amended our policies on renaming. Some people who are on the Parks Board were a part of that process. In 2020, we had to review those based on a renaming request, which took a couple of years. And one of the parks that was in fact renamed was Hadley Lillard Park in 2021. So we based the processes today on the processes that we had for the renaming of that park. We had one dedicated public meeting and one parks meeting dedicated for, which is today, for allowing public feedback. So that's just a little bit of the history of how we got to this place. And now if there are others who'd like to speak that didn't already speak, or ones that want to speak twice, you're welcome to come, and you've got 2 minutes.
Good afternoon. Lorraine Segovia with the Indigenous Peoples Coalition. Just one question about those, the timeline that you just described in our case compared to the Hadley Lillard Park. In the case of the Hadley Lillard Park, the 30-day period was from April 16 to April 19 to May 19. And then the community input meeting was held on May the 5th, and then the equivalent of this meeting on May the 4th, because you were having the Parks Board meeting on May the 4th. So that was between the 30-day period. In our case, we have, the board met in September, the public announcement was out, And then the 30-day period started September the 6th, and it went until October the 6th. The community input meeting happened in between that month, September 25th. However, the equivalent of this meeting is happening the following Parks Board meeting instead of October the 1st. That is the big difference that we're finding out in our case. And we were wondering why, if it's supposed to be a 30-day period.
Madam Chair, I just have a question. I was at the public meeting. As I understand it now, this question will be called on December 3rd. Is that correct? So basically, I think the question that you're asking will be called on December 3rd.
Right, that's correct. I'm sorry, I failed to complete my, where we are heading, which is that we don't have a naming committee meeting today, but we will have one in December. And at that point, the naming committee will make a recommendation to the full board.
Sorry. Yes, but so in the case of Hadley Lillard Park, the naming committee met on October the 1st. I'm sorry, on May the 4th. And this was the in-person meeting, the equivalent of what is happening today. So in our case, what is going to happen in December should have happened today, meaning the naming committee should have met today and gave their recommendation to the entire or full board today. So that is the big difference that we find out, and we were wondering why that was set in place.
Could I get, well, sorry, I didn't get the chronology of I thank you for reminding me about the Hadley Lillard process, because I was, in those meeting rooms too. I don't think there's any delay tactics or intention to try not to go through the process. We are trying to give due process and allow enough public comment periods and opportunities for people to have all different types of communication. So that was that was why the meeting was scheduled for today, and then the final meeting would be in December.
I would say this, I think you need to consider having a special session before the end of November. I'm sorry. I would reiterate that I think you need to really, really seriously consider calling a special session before the end of November, because otherwise this is starting to look ridiculous to the community. We feel like, and this is the indigenous community, we feel like we're a dog that's being given a bone to chase, and we're tired of it. We're fed up. Again, I think that very serious consideration should be given to holding a special session in order to correct the flaws in the process that we have very abundantly presented to you today.
Thank you. And we do have, I guess I just wanted to.
I shouldn't step, yes. Unless we're not understanding how the process was followed during the Hadley Lillard Park, which is similar, because you just said that the policy was amended, right? And then we're following the process that is being followed in this case. It's that one that was amended during that time.
The policy, sorry,
right?
Continue, go ahead.
And then when we review the timeline and how it worked during that renaming of the Hadley Lillard Park, seems to be a little bit different than what it's happening in our case. And that's why I was indicating those details. And I hope I'm being clear about that?
The process of Hadley Lillard was different because it was naming a park after it was different for different reasons. We changed the policy in order to entertain that request. What was not included in those policy changes was specific details on how the process was in terms of how many days. But we were just loosely basing our process for this renaming on those, that we would have 2 community input meetings. One would be dedicated and one would be at a parks meeting. So there was no policy related to like how many days it was, but that was how we achieved the dates that were scheduled.
Unless I'm remembering this not in the correct way, it was 30-day period, same thing, and then a community input meeting, and then an in-person opportunity. That's how it happened. And then after the date that happened in May, you even extended it for another 30 days because of the request of Ms. Sharon Hurt of the different name. So, but that is different in our case because we don't have that, right? So, so the first part, it's what we are comparing our case with the Hadley Park.
I see. Okay. Well, thank you for your comments, and we will, when we deliberate as a Parks Board, we will take those in consideration.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Wong. I am not specifically part of the Indigenous Peoples Coalition, but I sit on the boards of a couple of organizations that are in support of this work and are following it very closely and really care about it, as well as allies. So I'm on the Mayor's Sustainability Advisory Commission. I'm on the board of the Maddox Fund and the board of the Tennessee Environmental Council, where I head up the JEDI committee. So both Maddox and the Tennessee Environmental Council have officially supported this movement and are constantly coming to me as the liaison to be like, what's going on? Why is it dragging out so much? Again, as Greg was saying, they feel like this is kind of a breadcrumb. So I just wanted to share that I understand the intent is not to drag it out intentionally to harm the Indigenous community, but I think what we're hearing is that the impact is maybe larger than just a scheduling change seems like it would be, that the impact after all this time has felt like, as Albert was saying, like the Indigenous committee is being treated like a dog chasing after a bone. So for me, to me, that says it's worth it to hold a special committee meeting in advance of December 3rd, just because of what's gone on and the significance of November being Native American Heritage Month. So I would really appreciate, on behalf of the organizations I represent, for you to really consider holding this special session.
Thank you. Are there any additional people willing to speak?
I just want to say one more thing. That I can appreciate what you just said, that consideration would be given to the comments that we are making here today. And again, I think that what you folks need to do is have an session, so to speak, among yourselves to deliberate and give consideration to our request for the calling of a special session before the end of November.
Sorry, got my mic on. I open it to my fellow board members to deliberate. Is that procedurally? Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so the consent agenda, we will take the consent agenda in its entirety.
Motion to approve.
Okay, there's a motion. Motion and a second. Any comments? The only comment that I have is that there is an event on the consent agenda that's already happened. So just hoping that we can continue having those requests come before us before. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Let's see. New business, item 11-24-03, staff requests acceptance of an in-kind grant not to exceed $83,908.52 from Centennial Park Conservancy to fund the improvements at the Parthenon. The improvements will include $3,000 of wayfinding signage, $3,000 sound absorption panels, $45,296 tunnel improvements, $9,112.52 for entrance lobby improvements, for locker supply, ticket counter replacement and signage, and $23,500 for the Cowan Gallery improvements. There's no required match or other obligation by parks associated with this grant. No money will be sent to Metro Parks. All projects will be paid for directly by the Centennial Park Conservancy. The CPC will coordinate these projects with Metro Park staff and will not proceed with the projects until final approval is provided by the appropriate park staff. This is in Council District 21. And is there a recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
Okay. And as the Parks Board member assigned to the Centennial Parks Conservancy, I'd love for someone from the organization to speak on this.
Good afternoon, Parks Board. I'm John Timonello, President of Centennial Park Conservancy. As you know, we fund the exhibition and educational programs at the Parthenon and also have a Parthenon Preservation Fund where we help to underwrite preservation projects to the building and to their collection. And anytime that we make a change to the building itself, as detailed here, which is our improvements to the tunnel, the entrance lobby, the ticket counter, some painting and some flooring in the Cowan galleries, that's required to specifically go before the Parks Board because it is over $1,000, but also improving the facilities. And so we've been working with the Parthenon team on funding their requests for next year. And these are some of the initial items, and there'll be some more to come in the new year, specifically some updates probably to the Athens of the South galleries.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you for speaking on that. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion that's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? None opposed. Next is item 11-2404, staff requests approval for submission and ultimate acceptance of Land Water Conservation Fund grant in the amount of $2 million for development of the farm area at Mill Ridge Park. Staff also requests acceptance of an in-kind match valued at $2 million from the Josie Davis Foundation and Friends of Mill Ridge Park for services, design improvements, and construction of the barn. There are no required match or other obligations by Metro Parks associated with this grant. No money will be sent to Metro Parks. This is in Council District 32. Is there a recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
Okay. Is there anybody here to speak on that? Okay.
Any questions? Tell about the project. Talk about the project.
Yes, ma'am. So the $2 million grant would come from Land Water Conservation Fund. It would be for the Phase 3 of Mill Ridge Park, which would be the barn that's being built and the farm itself. It would be $2 million from them with a $2 million match coming from Friends of Mill Ridge Park and Josie Davis Foundation.
Perfect. Great, thank you.
And I'll just add, you all approved a few months ago fundraising for the Friends of Mill Ridge for the barn, when that is erected to be kind of an event space. And once we move far enough along in the process, we'll develop an operations agreement with Friends of Mill Ridge to operate that barn, which was also in what you approved, operate that barn as an event space.
Okay. Is there entertain a motion?
I'd like
Motion
to make a
approve.
motion, and I'd like to thank the Josie Davis Foundation for their very generous gift.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor? None opposed. Item 112405, staff requests approval of a lease agreement, lease number DACW 621-22-0324 between the Department of the Army, U.S. Corps of Engineer, and Metro Parks and Recreations for the continued operation and maintenance of Block 1 Park. The park occupies portions of Track D, utilizing approximately 3.17 acres with the Cheatham Lock and Dam project located in Davison County. This agreement is for a term of 25 years, beginning March 15th, 2021, and ending March 14th, 2046. It's in Council District 2. Is there
Staff
recommendation?
recommends approval.
Okay. Are there any questions?
Move for approval.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. None opposed. Next, we have special presentation from Planning and Facilities Division to present the annual update to the board. Joe, you got
Good morning again.
7 minutes.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. We'll give you an update of our Division of Planning and Special Projects, overview of what we do. Obviously, we've had a lot of growth in the last year and a half. I'd like to take this moment to thank the board, the administration, Director Odom, and Tim Neach, wherever he went, for his help in getting us the staff that we needed and the avocation for the administration to be able to fund that. Here we have Joe Stovo, who's me. I was hired a year and a half ago, came from Richmond. Anna Cristina Pule Gomez, who was our planner 3, came from a local firm. Sean Alexander, who was our planner 2, came over to us from Metro Historical Commission. Ty Hare, who was a technical specialist 2, also a project manager for us, came from a local firm as well. Jordan Meager, who's a technical specialist 2, also a project manager, came from Michigan. And Alana Hibbler, a technical specialist 2, also a project manager with us. She joined us from the Sheriff's Department. We all have about a year to no more than a year and a half, so exciting times. We're all learning as we go as well. Just to give you an overview of what we do, we design new parks and park improvements. We manage park construction projects and budgets. We coordinate with all internal divisions on a regular basis. We work routinely with fringe groups, parks foundations, and others. We participate in community engagement and public outreach. We maintain stuff like the Park Score, Parks GIS, Parks Finder, and project websites within the Metro Parks website. We also ensure park plans support our plan to play and our long-term goals. As you know, our plan to play is currently in the process of being updated. Some completed projects we've done in 2023 and 2024, Ravenwood Phase 1, Mill Ridge Phase 2. Currently at Ravenwood Phase 1, we are getting ready to add a restroom building there, which will hopefully be operational by the first of the year. Some other completed projects we've done is Sevier Park Sunnyside Mansion renovation and addition. I think a lot of y'all have seen that or have had the ability to go over and see that. It was a phenomenal project, and it was a great asset addition for our park system. Cossey Gardner Senior, Phase 2, we finally finished that, I think, back in last year. So double the size of a half-acre park, new event lawn, pavilion, and new furniture. Obviously, Sunnyside was a complete renovation, and we also added, I think, another 5,000 square feet. So one of the biggest projects we have going on right now under construction is our Old Hickory Community Center. As you can see here, there are renditions on the left and the middle of what it will look like once it's done. It will be a world-class facility. It will be an opportunity for our citizens to really enjoy what Parks has to offer. Here on the right, we have current pictures, I think, from last week, where our retaining walls are done. Our site is about 60% graded, and as you can see, the walls for the community center itself have made very good progress. That is actually about waist high. It doesn't look like it, but the picture doesn't do it justice. Some other current projects we have going on, Centennial Phase 3, which is in procurement as we speak. Ravenwood Phase 2, which is a addition of the 600 acres, currently known as Lytle Bend. There'll be primitive trails, greenway connections, and we're also working with the Southeast Grasslands Institute and Nature Conservatory to make sure that we do all the natural areas correctly with Jim and his group. Mill Ridge Phase 2, the Moore Farm property. Mill Ridge Phase 2 is actually broken up into the east and west side of Old Hickory Boulevard. The west side will be the Moore Farm. Yeah, the west side will be the Moore Farm. We're also adding a parking lot and a couple of restrooms to accommodate those two. The Moore Farmhouse itself will be completely renovated. And then over where we did Mill Ridge Phase 1 and opened it back in August, we will be adding a splash pad, water features, and a bunch of other amenities there to include a toddler play, an event lawn, and an event pavilion. So exciting times there. We have some current projects that are still in design, not quite to procurement yet. Fort Negley being one of them. We had our final community outreach meeting, I believe on the 16th of October, over at the Fort Negley Visitor Center. It was a great success. Everybody was very happy. As you can see here, these are renditions of what the design will look like once it's completed. Like I said earlier, it'll be a fantastic asset and something that has been brought back that I feel has been lost for a long time. So I think it's a great opportunity for us to really bring it back here. Other ones, again, park upgrades and design, Cedar Hill Medical League Field. We all know that we applied for a $5 million grant for that. A couple months ago, we should know in December whether we're a finalist. We should know in January, February, at the latest, if we've received the grant. Just a note on this, if we don't receive the grant, Director Odom and I have also put in a ask in the CSP to make sure that we're able to fund this. We all feel that this is a very strong opportunity for us here in Nashville that's been missing for a while. Then we have the Shelby Park Stream Bank restoration, or stabilization restoration. If you've ever been down there lately, you can tell that the stream bank is eroding. We are working with a This is finished, gone through design. We're almost done with permitting, and we are getting quotes from IDIQ contractors to be able to do this so we can get it done quicker. Hopefully this job will start here in the next 4 to 6 months. So, current projects, new park in design, First and Gay, also just reached procurement. This is a almost 2.5, 3 acre site down on the Cumberland River, located just behind the courthouse building there. There's currently 2 parking lots, and this is what it's going to be changed into. The only thing that has changed from this slide, since I was supposed to give this back in a couple months ago, is the first picture there on the left, the bottom. That is not a sand volleyball court anymore. That is a soccer court, or excuse me, a soccer pitch. Small, but a soccer pitch. We have many assets out here, one of which is the greenway that will be part of this, the pavilion. We also have pickleball courts. We have shuffleboard and bocce ball. I always say that wrong. And we also have basketball. So a great opportunity here for folks that have come down to Nashville and necessarily don't want to work out in the hotel. They can come out here, come down to the river. We'll also have an overlook here on the river so you can sit and eat your lunch and see the river as well. Mariposa, over off Tuscaloosa Road. It is 10 acres, playgrounds, basketball, pickleball, pavilions, pollinator plants. We have walking tracks. We have a soccer pitch. We have a small soccer pitch, a large soccer field. And then we're also going to have the ability for some kind of interpretive signs out here as well. Funding in the previous years, we're doing participatory budget projects now. Funding in the previous years, stuff that we have been able to complete that's been on the books for a while. The ADA accessible outdoor classroom at Hartman has been completed. The Bordeaux Garden out at the new playground, swings, and pavilion have been completed. Luby and Buena Vista, we've installed new seatings along the baseball fields. Currently in progress, we have upgrades such as playgrounds, swings, new pavilions, seating, shade structures, surfacing, and more at Antioch, Coleman, Dudley, McFerrin, Timothy, and Southeast Community Center. And then, of course, not last but least, Metro Parks and Greenways master plans. We are hot and heavy in that right now. We just finished staff interviews, and we're hope to have the state of the parks for staff review here at the end of November, 1st of December. And we hope to have everything completed and up for adoption by mid of 2025. So.
Great. Thank you. Great report. It's really helpful to see it all, on the screen, to see the things that you're doing. Are there questions for Joe?
No questions. I think it's just great to see the amount of work that's taking place, and just also want to compliment Joe and the team. I've had the pleasure of working with them, but also being an observer of their work and how they're engaging the community. And so I just want to give kudos to that. Again, I think suggesting to see the departments and get their updates is really great, because there is so much that goes on behind the scenes. And as we all know, we interact with parks in our own way and oftentimes in our local community. So to get that broad view of everything that's going on is really helpful.
Good. I agree. Thank you. And thanks for bringing your team here too. One question that I had was how our planning department how we compare to other cities and parks departments, and if other cities that are comparable to Nashville have similar type of planning departments with the number of staff and how you operate. I'd love to just hear your comments about that.
I don't know. I'm not really sure how to answer that question other than that would probably be part of our plan to play update, to where we really, as we did in 2000, Tim's not here, as we did in 2017, 16, we used peer cities. I think Charlotte was one of them, Austin was one of them. We used peer cities to make that determination, and I'm hoping that in the next 6 to 8 months, while we're doing this plan to play update, that we can make those, and I can report back to you on that.
Okay, great, thank you. Did you have comments?
I was going to say, just off the cuff, I don't think either of us necessarily knows that, but we could get that information for you. As Joe pointed out, his division has grown quite a bit. Grateful for those positions, but then too, also acknowledging in other park systems, there is typically on the capital side, is combined with the maintenance side. And then too, for many park systems, they rely on what I'll call here for Nashville, the general services department to do their building and construction and development. Of course, our department, we do our own building, construction, and development. So we'd have to look at it to get back to you.
Okay, great.
Parks is very lucky to have the amount of planning staff that we have. It really gives us the ability to be able to stand out and do a lot more, I believe, than other departments. So,
Great,
yep,
good, thank you.
yep.
Next, we have a special presentation from Greenways for Nashville, the annual update to the board. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Karen Gregg. I am the interim executive director of Greenways for Nashville. I just started in my role in September, so please be kind. I just wanted to start the presentation with just a picture of one of our beautiful greenways. As you know, our mission is to create, preserve, and promote a system of greenways in Nashville and Davison County. So what we do, we're committed to doing our part to ensure equitable access to all members of the community so they may safely experience an inviting network of greenways for health, recreation, and enjoyment, and some deer. Why greenways matter: to improve your health, provide accessible recreation, protect the environment, encourage green transportation, and connect our community. This year, we are proud to celebrate our 30 years with Greenways for Nashville. During those 30 years, we have been busy. There are 103 miles, 37 current open spaces, 11 greenway corridors. For our outreach, we have distributed 10,000 maps. The maps are underwritten by Vanderbilt University. We've done 30 outreach events where we have set up a tent and encouraged people and shared all the beautiful greenways and information. We've done some events, greenways and IPAs. We've participated in the Earth Day, Kidsville. Oracle has done a cleanup for us. We have ULI and some others. So the events that we have done are Richland Creek Run this year. We had 504 participants. And we had Painting the Greenways this spring, which was at McCabe. And that was wildly successful, and we're planning on doing that again. Sorry to backtrack. Richland Creek Run will be March 29th of 2025. Dinner by the Bridge was successful last year as it was this year. This year we had to move it due to the hurricane, but we moved it into Musicians Hall of Fame. So we are working on trailhead restorations, phase 2. So 27 signs total in phase 2. So completed are 12 new trailheads along the Cumberland River Greenway, John Sigel Thayer pedestrian bridge, and in production are the Richland Creek Greenway at McCabe, Mill Creek Greenway, and 7 Mile Creek Greenway. Our communications, we did hire an events manager into this fiscal year, as well as a marketing and communications manager. And with that, we have 3,000 followers. The total reach is 19.7. Same with Facebook. Our emails and everything else have increased. We are currently working on our newsletter. That is it for me.
That's great. A great picture to end on. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Are there any comments or questions from the board? Thank you.
Thank you.
Great report. Next, we have report of the director. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, did I skip? I'm so sorry. Next is Greenways and Open Space. Cindy Harrison. Sorry.
No problem. No problem at all. We've been busy. 440 Greenway, Sevier Park to Browns Creek Park. We're finishing up that design and took the Greenways and Open Space Commission on a field trip to walk the routing for that. Cruz joined us and his daughter. We're glad to see them there. Several council members. There are actually three. This project is in 3 council districts where they converge. So we had two of those council members join us, and it was a lot of fun. I think they enjoyed seeing hands-on where the trail will go. The other 440 Greenway section that we have finishing design is right outside our door, connecting the existing trailhead down to Centennial Park. Next week, November the 13th, from 5:30 to 7 in this room, we'll have a public input meeting for that project. That project includes lighting the new segment of Greenway, and it also includes adding lighting to the existing Phase 1. So we're happy to talk about that as well as this design extension. The Whites Creek Greenway at Hartman Park, we're continuing on that design. The design for that won't be finished for probably towards the end of 2025, but I'll just keep reminding you all that that's underway. Those 2 440 projects I just mentioned, we expect those designs to be finished by the end of the year. The green property acquisition at Fort Negley, you've heard me mention a couple of times. Metro did receive a $4.1 million grant towards that acquisition. We also have capital dollars and some other dollars that went towards that. That was closed. We closed on that property November the 1st. The American Battlefield Trust owns that property. They will put a conservation easement on it and then convey that property back to Metro. So really exciting to have that as part of the overall Fort Negley campus. A couple of projects underway by developers that you've heard me mention. The Richland Creek Greenway at Bellmead Plaza. We reviewed recently those designs as they're progressing toward being final, and we're really happy with what we're seeing there. The Harpeth River Greenway proposed with the Ariza Bellevue residential project continues to move forward through the stormwater management committee, where they're getting a stormwater variance or applying for one. They meet this week. We will be there. That project includes open space donation to Metro Parks, a greenway extension. It includes a vehicular bridge that will give access to the property that we own that was donated to us several years ago that will let us build out that park when funding becomes available. So that's a really important one for us to continue to be a part of. And I mentioned this in my written report last month, but we'll just mention again, the First Horizon, Cumberland River Greenway at First Horizon Park opened, and it was a great event, and we were extremely happy to have that open. The reason it's so important, there was a greenway there previously. When the baseball stadium was built, it became encompassed by fencing, and so this new greenway realigned the old one, and there's now, unfettered access for the public 365 days a year. And it's really beautiful. So I encourage you, if you're out for a game or if you're not, just to go by and take a look at that one. That is all I have today.
Great. Thank you, Cindy.
Okay.
Any questions for Cindy?
All right, thank
All
you.
right, thank you very much. Oh, and next is a report of the director, finally.
Thank you so much. And I just want to say a special thank you to all of you who participated in your retreat back on October 3rd. I thought it was a great opportunity and work session for you all to kind of gel and for us to align. And I just want to say I look forward to our continued work together. And thank you for your service. As the end of the year approaches, the end of the calendar year approaches, we will have our FY25 media review with Metro Finance. That's just to look at our progress in this current fiscal year and kind of give them any kind of advance notice, if there is any, that we need to give them about upcoming expenses that may not be captured or anticipated in the budget. To that point, we are coming closely upon the end of this fiscal year, and budget kickoff for FY26 will begin for Metro in January. Our team has already started looking at possible improvements or reallocations and redirections of funding. So we are already thoroughly looking at FY26, the FY26 budget. As you all may recall, when that budget process opens, it's only open for departments to get the submission in about 3 weeks. So there's a lot of work that goes into the submission, but there is a lot of work that goes into developing the submission beforehand. So I will in advance thank all of our division heads for all of their work that they will be putting in soon. Seven Oaks tennis and pickleball courts are expected to open in the next 2 weeks. I know that the community is eager to see that. And you probably have received, or you may have seen on the news, we're looking for a Christmas tree, the annual Christmas tree that is at Public Square Park at the courthouse. If you all know of one that may be available and someone is willing to donate it, we'll come and get it. NES generally supports us in that. Please contact Randall Lance. I believe you already received a media advisory maybe last week about that. But anyway, we are looking. So please email Randall or give us a call here at the office at 615-862-8400. We are looking for a 30 to 40 foot Norway spruce with full branches that looks good from all angles. So if you know one, let us know. We are excited to announce that 2 new recruits started in the Police Training Academy last week, as you heard earlier today. Beeman Park celebrated its 15th anniversary last month, and congratulations to Heather Gallagher, who celebrated her 25 years of service at Metro Parks. You all met her at the retreat, so kudos to Heather. And then also Bonnie Seymour, who is at the Parthenon, was named Nashville Scene Writers Pick for Best Curator. Duncan McDaniel was named Nashville Scene Writers Pick for Best Debut Artist for a show at the Parthenon. The Tennessee Arts Education Association honored the Parthenon as TAEA Friend of the Year and curator Jennifer Richardson as Museum Educator of the Year at their conference late last month. And I just got this word, Katie Petroli, who also works at the Parthenon, will be leaving to run in a marathon in Greece tomorrow. So, way to go.
She was here earlier, but had to get back to the
Yeah. Dedication. All right, we appreciate that. The McFerrin Tech Lab had its ribbon cutting on August 25th. I want to say thank you to you all, first of all, for accepting the grant from the Titans Foundation for that technology lab there. We're excited about that. It was from the Digital Divide grant, if you will recall. That same type of grants and ribbon cutting will happen later this month at Coleman Community Center. So with the development of the Technology Center at Coleman, McFerrin, and then the one at Luby, there will be 3, that will total 3, funded by the Titans Foundation. So we are grateful for that. And then finally, I will just mention that, as I've mentioned before, our staff and working group will be submitting to you all next month for your review and consideration department-wide department-wide fees for fee changes. And I expect, again, we will submit those and expect you to give those some thought, and it will be fine if you defer those to January. We don't expect those to become effective until April or July, respectively. So that is the end of my report. Do you have any questions?
Any questions? All right, thank you. Let's see. Let's see, announcements, requests for future agenda items or open items. Okay.
Just one quick reminder, today is Election Day. If you have not already voted, please get out and vote. And as you are getting out to cast your votes, please be mindful that this has been a crazy election season, so take some time, get your, sit back, turn off your TV for a little while and just kind of refresh yourself. But if you have not already voted, please, I encourage you to get out and vote. The polls in Nashville are open until 7 p.m. tonight.
Thank you. Any additional items? I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. Okay.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.